Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I don't know if you guys can hear the blower in the background, but every time I start recording, it seems like the HOA people come to our neighborhood and just start mowing the lawn and doing all that. So hopefully you guys don't get annoyed by that. But today I wanted to do a little Instagram Q&A. You guys have asked me so many questions and I wanted to answer as many as I could for you guys today without making this video so terribly long, because sometimes Q&As can be ridiculously long. But I'll go through the questions and answer as many as I can. Thank you guys so much for all your input and always interacting with me on my Instagram. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, you can go do that right here. I'll leave my little name right here. So, okay, let's go ahead and get on into the Q&A. The first question somebody asked was your testimony, ! And I actually did a video all about my testimony. I can have it linked in the description box down below if you guys want to check it out. It's really, really good. So I just said my testimony is really, really good. I think it's good. And you guys probably think your testimony is good too, but maybe that sounds a little prideful. I don't know, go check it out down below. So the next question is, how would life be different with kids? And I would definitely say me and Kyle have thought a lot about this. This year we're traveling so much. So if we had kids, it would be a lot more expensive and we would have to probably leave a lot earlier. We couldn't be as last minute as we are, because if you know us, we're kind of late to everything. So with kids, I think we would have to be a lot more organized and we'd have a lot more laundry. I feel like I have a ton of laundry right now. You guys should see the piles and the loads in my hallway. That blower's coming back, sorry guys. I mean, I will say he's very good at his job. He goes up and down our streets with the blower like 4 or 5 times. So thank you for that, sir. Okay, so hopefully I'll talk loud enough where you guys can't really hear that. But yeah, tons of laundry. We'd have to be more disciplined in just getting to places on time, getting up earlier. All that just doesn't sound as fun. And so that's why we're kind of putting off having kids for a few more years. We've been married for almost 3 years, you guys. So I really wanted to be married at least 5 years before having kids. Yeah, we'll see if that happens. If it doesn't, I'll be so excited to have a baby. But yeah, just a few more years. We want to enjoy our time together. And then she also asked, was there a time when your faith grew more than ever? And I just did a video all about me and Kyle's breakup, and that was a time that my faith grew more than ever. And then actually this year, I'm not going to go into details, but this year I have never had to depend on God more and trust in God more than this year. So I'm sorry I can't fully answer your question, but yes. How did you and Kyle meet? We actually have a whole video on how we met, so I'll link that below as well. Hopefully I won't forget. Hannah, go and link it down below in the description box. Someone said I'll be starting uni/college next year, so I will be going to a new church. Any advice? And I would say try to get plugged in right away, whether that's volunteering, whether that's joining a small group. Get plugged in right away, because when you go into church on Sunday and just like sit there and then leave, it's really hard to get plugged in. You want to get on a deeper level with people so you feel connected on Sundays and you're just not like, oh, go sit in church and leave. Do whatever God has gifted you with and just really help out your church, whether that's with like tech, worship, helping out with kids, and get plugged into a small group with girls your age. So I think that's really, really important. So the next question is, how has your summer been? What is one dream you have? And my summer has been awesome. It's also been the hardest summer of my life. Actually, yes, besides me and Kyle breaking up, this has been one of the hardest summers of my life, but also have been filled with so many blessings. I feel like to kind of even out the hardness. So we have been blessed with being able to travel this summer together, which has been amazing. I would recommend it to anyone. Me and Kyle just have started out traveling together, like when we first started dating, and we want to end traveling together as well. So this summer has been amazing, but also the hardest time of my life. And what is one dream you have? I would love to open up my own boutique someday. So I've been praying about that, and maybe in the future. So the next one is heavy. Do you believe in gay marriages? I personally, as a Christian, know it's unbiblical. And I agree with you. I believe it's unbiblical. I believe it's a sin just like any other sin. So a gay or lesbian person is in no way worse than I am. I sin just as bad as they do. All sins are the same. So I don't judge anyone more harshly for being gay or claiming to be gay. So yes, if you guys want to talk to me more about that, you can always send me a message. But yeah, I do believe it's unbiblical. I believe God created marriage for a man and a woman, and that's that. The next question is, are you denominational? And I'm actually not. I'm non-denominational. I moved from California to Tennessee, and I remember in Tennessee, like once I got here, people were like, what denomination are you? And I'm like, I actually don't even know, because I feel like in California, denominations aren't a big thing, or maybe I was just too young to understand denominations when I was growing up there. But everybody in the South seems to be like, are you Baptist? Are you like, you have to have a title or a name? And I just love Jesus. That's it. I don't feel like I really have a denomination. So non-denominational, which I feel like is kind of a denomination in itself, but I just love Jesus, guys. I would say my church is probably more like Baptist, if you wanted to compare something to it. So Molly asked, what are tips for spreading the word of Jesus in high school? P.S. Love you so much. I love you, Molly. Thank you so much. She writes me all the time. So thank you for your question. I think the biggest thing for spreading Jesus in high school is not only talking about him, but I think the biggest thing is separating yourself from the world in high school. People will see that. If you don't go to parties and drink and do all the crazy stuff like other people do in high school, people will notice that, and they probably won't like that about you, or they'll probably really admire that about you. And so just separating yourself from the world is a great example for who Jesus is. So living in the world and not of the world. And that's a really hard thing to do in high school, because there's so many temptations and so much peer pressure that it makes it hard to do. But I think just being an example to your friends is not doing what other people do in high school. And even other people who claim to be Christians but are still living in a sinful way, you know, confronting them and maybe just being bold with them and saying, listen, you're saying you're a believer, but I'm not seeing that in how you live. So if you have a good enough relationship with them that you can say that, I would definitely say be bold. But yeah, just your actions is most important. And then once you build a relationship up with your friends, you can be bold enough to speak to them about Jesus. So yeah. All right, so Devin asked, how do you know it's the right guy before you're dating him? And I think this is pretty obvious. If you're a Christian, you should know if the person loves the Lord by how they live. And if you don't really know the person that well, I would highly recommend getting to know them before dating them. Are they living biblically or are they not? And if they're not, that's your answer, then you probably shouldn't date them. So it is actually pretty simple. I think sometimes we try to overcomplicate it, but it's pretty easy and pretty obvious who is walking with the Lord and who isn't. I thought this was a really good question. Somebody asked, what do you think about listening to secular music? And all the time, like in high school and middle school, like secular music, that used to be my thing. I just used to listen to only secular music. I actually thought Christian music used to be kind of cheesy, but ever since my relationship has really, really grown and strengthened with the Lord, I find it harder and harder to listen to secular music. Don't get me wrong, there's still secular music that I listen to, but it's not the first thing I turn on. I hardly ever listen to secular radio stations or music as much anymore. I mostly just want to like pour in truth and pour in just like God into my ears. It actually kind of hurts when I hear secular music and I'm like, I just can't listen to that anymore because it's just not biblical and not godly. I find that the more your relationship develops with Jesus, the more you want to listen to things that glorify him and not listen to the things that don't. Somebody asked, do you think that contraception is okay, or do you think it's holding back from God and your spouse? That's a really hard one. Me and Kyle use contraception, but me and Jaclyn actually just started talking about this, about how maybe you're not fully trusting in the Lord if you use contraception. So I really want to start praying about that, because I do think that's interesting, and I do think maybe it's important. I don't know if there's any verses in the Bible that say don't use contraception. We personally do, because I think my family is fertile myrtles and we probably would have one baby right after the other. But I think that's a good thing to pray about, and if you feel convicted about it, then maybe don't do it. We personally don't feel convicted about it, but maybe it's something that I should start praying about. So yeah, me and Jaclyn, that's really funny you brought that up, because me and Jaclyn have been having that conversation. She heard something that maybe contraception wasn't right. And so it's just an interesting thought and something that I think everyone should pray about. How do you deal with comparison? Also, thank you for all that you do. Thank you so much, Grace. That's so sweet. So me and Emily are actually going to be doing a video, I don't know whenever we see each other next, talking about comparison and insecurity. So be on the lookout for that video, because that is something both me and Emily really struggle with. If you don't know who Emily is, I have her linked in the description box below. She is my newest sister-in-law and I love her so much, and we're actually very similar in our insecurity. So we want to make a video all about that, so keep on the lookout for that, because we both still struggle with insecurity and comparison daily. One tip I will say is, if you're following people on Instagram who make you feel insecure and not uplifted and not like bettering yourself, I say go through your whole Instagram and just unfollow, because having that constantly pumped into your head will make you feel so terrible about yourself. I know I used to follow like a bunch of fitness people and all that, and like people that were like traveling all the time and like in bikinis, and I would constantly compare myself, and I'd step away and think, why do I feel so bad about myself? Why am I so anxious? And it was because of that. And as soon as I just deleted all those people and I only started to follow friends and family and people that were uplifting and didn't post like half naked pictures of themselves, I started feeling so much more secure. So I'd highly recommend that. For His Glory Photography asked, did you ever have second thoughts about marrying Kyle? And 100% no, I didn't. I did not. Our engagement was hard, I will say that. We did have a very tough engagement because we were both so busy, and it was really stressful. But even during that time, I knew he was the one. So I don't know if he ever had second thoughts, maybe, but I definitely didn't. Okay, so for the last question, everybody has asked me this. I think I have like 4 or 5 people asking, how tall am I? And I am 5'10" and a half last time I checked, which was a long time ago. So maybe I'm 5'11" now, but I think the last time I checked, I'm 5'10" and a half, which is so tall. And one girl was asking me, she just wants to know for clothing comparisons and sizes. I usually have to get like really long sizes, and so I normally size up sometimes, but around my waist I'm a medium. I'm pretty consistently a medium, or a size 4 or 6 around my waist. I have pretty wide hips, and then I normally wear a size medium top as well. So yeah, 5'10" and a half. I used to hate it, but now I'm starting to love it more and more. Okay, and there were 2 more questions that people messaged me because the box was too small, so I wanted to answer those questions. One girl said, I struggle with reading and writing, which makes it really hard for me to have the motivation to do quiet times and to read books because I have to put that little bit of extra effort in. Do you have any advice for starting to do quiet times and having the motivation to do them even if you struggle with reading and writing? And I have never really thought about that, but that is probably a huge problem for people, because I know that would be really hard to want to sit down, read your Bible, and write if you struggle with that. I think my biggest recommendation and the best thing would be to download the YouVersion Bible app. And what is so cool about this app, my screen is so dirty, there's actually a little voice area like at the top right hand corner, and it will read to you the Bible.
My son, do not forget my teaching, but let your heart keep my commandments. For length of days and years of life.
How cool is that? So you can actually listen to the Bible, you actually don't have to read it. And then if you wanted to write anything down, I would say do voice memos, so it's easier for you to speak. Also, listening to podcasts is a huge one for growing my faith and just spending time with Jesus. It's like listening to your pastor preach on Sunday. So I really love the Porch podcast. If you guys haven't checked those out, go check them out. The Porch, it's so good. Jaclyn actually told me about them. Okay, and then I thought there was one more question that I was supposed to answer, but I cannot find it now. So if you are watching this video, leave your question down below or message me and I will be sure to answer it. You can direct message me on Instagram or something and I'll answer you there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little Q&A. So if you guys have any more questions for me, make sure to leave them in the comments down below and I'll be sure to answer them. I try to go through all my comments and answer them for you guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below if you guys want to keep up with my channel. We are going to some pretty fun places soon. Me and Kyle will be traveling again soon. So thanks so much for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!